Climate alarmists are never going to cease. They're never going to stop. David Monbiot is a leader of this climate alarmism. He doesn't want us eating eggs or pork or chicken or beef. Everybody has to be a vegan. It's all about social. If you notice something, when you watch any one of these climate activists actually have a degree in anything related to the climate, we've been interchanging climate policy with actual science. So what you get when you listen to these people, they move very quickly from the sky is falling, we're going to die from acid rain or global warming or whatever it is. Their only answer is, of course, global Marxism. Now, do we have that, David Monbiot? Assad? Watch this. This is about a minute of crazy. Watch how quickly Monbiot goes from talking about the weather to social justice or something.
The only thing that delivers quickly and effectively is system change. And while we've been messing about with these ridiculous micro solutions, the radical right has instituted a global insurgency and has achieved system change. It's tearing down democracy. It's tearing down equality before the law. It's tearing down basic rights, human rights, tearing down regulations, tearing down tax, ripping down everything and changing the system to suit billionaires, to suit oligarchs, to suit predatory corporations. Well, we've been saying, oh, yes, we're not a bit worried about asking for too much. They've said, we're going to have the lot. And they're succeeding. So what they've proved is that you can do system change. Unfortunately, proved it in all the most horrible ways. And our timidity, our failure to demand that system change has been a big part of the reason why we are stuck where we are and why there's been almost no effective measures to address this greatest of all crises.
Okay, that was Democracy Now! TV, a hard left-wing television program shot not that far from here where I am. And that was last night. It's George Monbiot, not David, my correction. But he goes on every network. He is at every left-wing convention and symposium. He writes for The Guardian. And he is out there. It's the only way to change the weather is through global Marxism. My next guest is the CEO of Global Weather Oscillation, David Dilley. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
So when you see these climate alarmists veering very quickly, careening very quickly away from global warming or climate disruption into civil rights and women's rights and socialism, doesn't that kind of tell us they're not really talking about the climate?
Well, they don't really know what's going on. Everyone talks about the carbon dioxide. We have too much carbon dioxide. Well, prior to instruments that just started to record it in 1950, prior to that, for the first 500,000 years, we received estimates of the carbon dioxide in the air through ice core samples. However, the ice core samples, yes, it gives us a trend, but it greatly underestimates how much carbon dioxide is actually in the air. So what happened in 1950, NOAA set up in Hawaii on top of a mountain a recording device, a spectrometer. It records how much carbon dioxide is in the air. However, what they do not do is separate the natural carbon dioxide from the fossil fuel carbon dioxide. They lump it all together. So when they say we have 412 parts per million, that's the total carbon dioxide. And then they take a look at it and they say, well, ice core samples say it's only been as high as 297 parts per million past 500,000 years. However, that's greatly underestimated by the ice core samples. So what happens is NOAA, what they did is by taking the recordings, daily recording, they do get the total carbon dioxide, and then they use a formula to try to divide how much of it is natural and how much of it is fossil fuel. However, what happened was their formula says since 1850 is 100% fossil fuel. 100%. We're doing it, is what they say. However, 3 physicists just released a paper in a journal, and they found an error in the NOAA formula for the calculation climate the carbon dioxide. The correction shows that the increase in carbon dioxide since 1850 is 80% natural. 80%. Only 20% is fossil fuel. This is far too little to cause climate change.
So I have to ask, and I remember the whole controversy around East Anglia University and their researchers getting caught kind of fudging their data. If this is really happening, and we really have to take steps to avoid the Earth cooking to a crisp or something, why are the people that are doing the supposed scientific research feeling the need to lie? I didn't know that science was so political. Either you're studying, you go into a laboratory, you go into a study, you have no prejudices, you gather data, you gather evidence, you create, write a paper and say, here's what we found, here are our findings. But it feels like a lot of these people are purposely manipulating this for political reasons.
It's not totally political. What happens is you have a grant system for universities, and this has been occurring for about 15 years. When a grant is written by the government or someone else, it states what they're looking for in the grant. So you have to provide what they're looking for. And the only grants available during the past 15 years is to provide, you have to come to a conclusion that this part of human activity is causing climate change, global warming. So it's the grant money that's doing the talking. You can't get grant money for natural cycles. And there's the research out, physicists, like I said, the increase is 88% natural. I've done research, looked at the ice cores and other research. I come up with 88% natural. There's another research paper out there using fossilized plant cells, which is much more accurate than ice core samples, and that says 88% natural also. So
let me ask you this, though. We've been kind of using people with actual science pedigrees and people with policy pedigrees interchangeably. And we even see this in universities. You hear someone has a degree in environmental science, but then you read into it and it's environmental policy. So why are we letting people who have no science background, I only got 45 seconds, acting like they're scientists on this stuff?
Well, because they don't know what's going on. They have to look at the past. If you look at what they're talking about, they never go beyond 1850. They will not tell you that we've had 5 global warming cycles since the year 1000 AD and 5 global cooling cycles. Every global warming cycle comes every 230 years, and every global cooling cycle comes every 230 years. The last global warming cycle ended in 1794. Wow. Add 230 to that, and what do you have? The year 2024.